A little bit of gum goodness for you. A few gum goodnesses for you for this week. I'm hoping to do more, but with things becoming a little hectic, like trying to get packages and setting up something for family next week, you guys know that just. But we have a few gump goodness for you right here. I just botched my own words. A few gump goodnesses. This is the first one. This one is about SmackDown possibly going to 3 hours. Now, Brian Alvarez did cover this. Also, JD covered this. And he was not happy about this. And the expectations from what Brian Alvarez was able to report on in the WWE locker room is that they don't expect this to be long. They expect this to possibly be only for a short-term time into 2026. Here's the thing. I'm going to make this clear for you. Very, 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 very clear. I've said this for more than a year and a half. More than a year and a half. This is not the same WWE. At first, it was TKO WWE. Now, it's Silver Lake WWE. Because, as I've said many, many months ago, TKO was bought out by Silver Lake. They got enough shares that pretty much they made an offer, and Ari Emanuel decided to take it. He stayed as the CEO, but he doesn't own his own company anymore. He doesn't own a Endeavor. He doesn't own TKO. He doesn't own UFC or WWE. He's just the CEO of it. So at any time, no matter what anyone says, the true owners of WWE, or UFC for that matter, can tell whatever they want to anyone, and they must obey. So when you look at how much there's been changes, and many people saying Triple H doesn't want to do anything, he wants to be safe. Now that's more than possibly true. More than possibly true. But, let's make this clear. He still reports to someone. Currently, it is Ari Emanuel. Yes, you still got Nick Khan. Yes, you still have The Rock. But over all of them are the people who own Silver Lake, who can tell any one of those people, make the show 3 hours. And yes, many people say, dude, USA wants 3 hours. Yes. But that's not what they originally agreed to. We know this happened in January where SmackDown became 3 hours until July, and then they went away from it. And now they want to go back to it again. I'm sure USA wants to. There's no lie about this. But it still comes from the people above. If it was not written in the original contract that USA made with WWE, who is owned by Silver Lake, if it's not there, and this is just a concession to make them happy, someone had to sign off on it. And it's not Triple H. He runs the day-to-day operations of WWE. He does not run what major decisions are done for TV time, for marketing. Eventually, that comes down to the ones who are in Endeavor and above them. So, no matter what anybody says, Silver Lake tells Ari, Nick, The Rock, and eventually Triple H what to do. And I'm not saving Triple H here. He's being safe. And I've said this so many times for so many years. It's not about wrestling. It's not. It's about money. At this point, when Endeavor took over, it was about who could wield the power, who would take over from Vince, and who, as a businessman, is going to run the business. Because remember, you can say a lot about Vince, and trust me, I don't trust Vince. He did his bit. I don't believe he'll ever go into a Hall of Fame because of the allegations, as long as it stays open. If he's found innocent, even if he's not, maybe he may go into the WWE Hall of Fame. But as it stands, he will never go in. Ever. But you cannot say what he has done has not been monumental for pro wrestling. We wouldn't have what we have today without Vince. There's no lying about that. But Vince was never a businessman, no matter what anybody says. He is a promoter who acts like a businessman. He learned from his dad how to run a wrestling company and make pro wrestling. Not run a business, make pro wrestling. And now we don't have that anymore. We have a true businessman who sold his company, all the chains in it, to another company who managed to get enough shares of the company to convince him to pretty much sell, and they're running it. And all that matters is this. And JD has basically talked about it. I'm sure Alex and Solomon, to a certain extent, talked about it, but this is what you need to understand. Made it very clear. As it stands, they want to use pro wrestling to make money. They don't want to make pro wrestling to make money. There's a difference between making something you're passionate about and using it to make money. And at this point, that's where we're at. What you see now, I do not believe is temporary. I believe they're going to revert back to 3 hours. And this is just my point of view. JD has a different feeling about stuff. But my point of view is this. All that matters to them is money. If they can change the WWE to ball dancing, if that will make them more money, trust me, they'll do it no matter if the fans like it or not. As long as it brings in huge amounts of cash and better capital for their company, they'll switch it to pro wrestling to ballroom dancing. This is what people will not understand and will not listen. It hasn't happened. Hopefully it never does, but they may do it. And that's the key of this. 3 hours, my humble opinion, because it's just an opinion, it's no fact, I have no facts. Just like JD talking about this himself and talking about what happened with Santana, I am going to cover that. And the fan who was a reporter, you're going to see that video next. It'll probably be released Thursday. But my feeling is this. They're moving to 3 hours again, and it may be permanent next year and the year after that. Until they do a new renegotiation of the contract, I truly believe WWE is going to do this not just because USA wants it, but the office is going to want it even more because they're going to get more money. And that doesn't matter if the content is good or not. They just want money. But this is just my point of view. Please give a comment below on this gump goodness. Watch for the next video. This is about the fan who was kicked out of Full Sail University, who was not a fan, he was actually a reporter. If I'm right. Peace.